our shirt on Tespring.
Hey everyone, I wanted to share a recent incident that happened to me in a homeless shelter in the San Francisco Bay Area. As you know, I'll be making videos about my experiences living in a shelter, dealing with addiction, mental illness, and all kinds of challenges. So a while back, this guy moved into the top bunk above me. At first, he seemed cool, and we didn't have many issues. But what bothered me was that he would constantly leave his bunk by jumping off and shaking the whole bed. He would go back and forth at night, rummaging through his container while I tried to sleep. And every night, his friends would come and wake him up, asking him to join them outside. But that's not all. 3 months later, another guy started staying at the shelter. He was always angry with someone and would talk on the phone about threats and stuff like that. One day, someone accidentally bumped into him, and he demanded an apology. When the person apologized, he got even more upset and threatened to beat them up or send them to the hospital. I reported this to the staff, but they said they couldn't do anything until they heard it themselves. 2 days later, this same person started making threats again. He was staring down my friend who was talking outside with me. So my friend asked him if he had a problem. That's when the guy threatened to kick his ass. I stepped in and told him I was going to report him to the staff, but someone else got involved and told me to stop saying things like that, saying they were sick of my behavior. This led to a big argument. Eventually, I informed the staff we're calling the police on him for making threats against me, so I went to the front lobby and called the cops, waiting for them to come. While waiting, the guy in the top bunk started accusing me of being the reason his friends were getting kicked out. I told him to mind his own business and called him a junkie. He got defensive and said, "At least I don't stain my sheets." That's when I realized he was starting rumors about me, but honestly, I don't care about his opinion. He's just a junkie, and I won't let his words bring me down. Here's the story, how the rumors, filled with all sorts of crazy things happening to me. First, my area at the shelter got infected with bed bugs. We had to put ourselves and our stuff in quarantine, unable to go back to the common areas until we were checked out and cleared by a doctor for bed bugs. Luckily, I went to the doctor and got the all clear. But then I noticed my sheets were gone. The staff explained that they had to take them somewhere else to clean. They gave me 2 new sheets, but due to my allergies, I couldn't smell if they had been properly cleaned. I had to make do for quite a while. One day I went out, and when I came back, my sheets were gone again. I asked the staff what happened, but one of them said they didn't know, as it was the morning staff's responsibility. There seemed to be a lack of communication between the morning and afternoon staff. It was frustrating, but the afternoon staff eventually gave me more new sheets. Now, let me get back to the main story. 2 guys got kicked out of the shelter. One guy got kicked out for days, and the other was freaking out. It took 5 officers from the Gilroy police department to kick him out for a year. It seemed like he needed medical attention, but when the ambulance arrived, they told him they couldn't take his stuff with him to the hospital. I wondered what happened to his belongings, but I didn't know for sure. I spoke to one of the officers and shared my own experiences, but he wasn't very helpful. He told me to let the staff handle the situation, which left me feeling frustrated. They simply tell us to keep separated even when there's someone making threats. It's disappointing to see that some people never learn their lessons. After experiencing a series of unfortunate events, my stay at the shelter has become quite challenging. It all started when the guy on the top bunk began harassing me over the placement of my sheets on my bed. No matter where I positioned them, he would antagonize me, accusing me of starting trouble. It's important to note that he's a junkie, so I try not to take his words too seriously. To make matters worse, he constantly complained to the staff about my sheets, even though they were perfectly fine in my area. He became particularly upset with me because I had gotten his friends kicked out, which led to an escalation of his harassment. Once a week, he would bother me about my sheets, and every time we brought the issue to the staff, I would plead with them to make him leave me alone. He would pester me day and night, making it impossible for me to find peace. Then one day, he went a step further and threatened to throw my sheets in the garbage if I didn't move them. Defiantly, I told him to go ahead. But instead of stopping there, he started spreading lies about me To my dismay, the staff sided with him, instructing me to remove my sheets from where they were. It was a blatant injustice, since my sheets were rightfully on my bed, when one of the staff members threatened to write me up for not complying with their unreasonable demands. I stood my ground and said they could go ahead and do so. I wasn't going to back down without sharing my side of the story. Frustrated by this ongoing harassment, I took matters into my own hands and started documenting and reporting his actions. I wrote down every incident, marking it as harassment and contributing to a hostile environment. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if my efforts had any impact, as he was only gone for 4 days before returning. During his brief return, he simply walked by me and gave me a drink with a look, but I chose not to respond. The entire situation became even crazier when I was talking to someone outside and rumors started circulating about him using a derogatory racial slur. Another person confronted him, falsely accusing him of saying the word, and it spiraled into trouble for both of them. This incident exemplifies why I try not to spend too much time at the shelter. It seems like there are always people doing foolish things or causing unnecessary problems. I don't have much more to share with you folks, but I hope my story shed some light on the challenges I've faced